Welcome to today's Dev Dive session, Unlock the Future of Automation with UiPath Agent Builder. This was a highly anticipated session after our last session past month on Healing Agent. This is the time to move a bit onwards with the agentic vision of UiPath. So as always, we really wish you to enjoy the next 60 minutes with guidance, demos, and of course the live Q&A at the end. So we will have time for Q&A as well. As always, also, the event will be wrapped up tomorrow. You will receive the event recording, the links, and the presentation deck from the event. You can use the chat throughout the meetup, the session at any time. There will be community members, product marketing members, product members in the chat to help you with your questions. So we are there to aid and support. At any time, please ask us in the chat. During the Q&A at the end, you will also have the opportunity to speak live and ask questions. You are encouraged, of course, to share your LinkedIn profiles and keep networking with your peers. Without further ado, I will introduce our today's speaker, Zach Eslami, Director for Product Management. And just a mention in the chat, you will also have our colleague, Tom Mosher, to help with the answering your questions and with guidance. So thank to both of them for joining us today. And I will now pass it over to Zach. Hello, Zach.
Wonderful. Good morning, everybody. It's great to be here. I'm very glad to be presenting. I'm down here in San Antonio, Texas, so calling up from down south here. But I'm going to dive in and kind of show off our new great agent builder currently in preview. I'm going to start with some slides just to kind of like ground ourselves in like where we're at in our story here in agentic automation at UiPath. Oh, excuse me. Sorry, my Outlook started. Okay, cool. So as we have been progressing over the last 10 years or so, we have seen a dramatic evolution in the RPA market. We have, in the last first 10 years of UiPath's existence, right, established not just only the UiPath as a leader in the RPA and automation market, but creating and embedding AI has been crucial and foundational to the entire platform since the inception of UiPath, right? And that has led to us doing things like establishing precision-dedicated specialized models embedded into all of our products, right? Becoming the world leader in intelligent document processing through our document understanding and communications mining, exposing automations that can then tackle, highly unstructured text and process them in complex business workflows. We've delivered existential value to a number of customers over the last 10 years with the orchestration of robots and humans, and have built a number of amazing computer vision models, UI, interaction models, and ultimately through all of this have delivered business value through our platform that is constructed not just business workflows, but automation workflows, and ultimately delivered end-to-end enterprise business value, right? And through all of this, while robots are kind of our name in the game here to execute all of these business workflows, all of this has been centered around human-based design and human in the loop, right? And so at the end of the day, what we have seen over the first 10 years is while we are an automation platform, AI has been integral into our success and empowering not just robots, but also humans to deliver, again, this end-to-end business value. But as we look ahead, we're now entering this amazing era of agentic automation. What that means is now we have these amazing high-powered LLMs that can be used and embedded in the same way that we've introduced AI models into our existing platform before, but now to supercharge existing automations, now with humans, robots, and agents working together to tackle very highly variable, non-deterministic tasks, right, and deliver a next level of end-to-end business value. And so we're entering this UiPath Act 2, right, where AI becomes a mirrored representation of human intelligence, right, to execute business workflows. But not only that, it becomes an additional tool that our automation developers can leverage as part of their work, as part of their goals in delivering end-to-end business value through enhanced automation, right? And it's not just an agent's taking everything and running with it, right? We believe that it is the confluence of all three of these kind of core components: agents, robots, and people, to deliver this business value. And so this continues our journey in agentic automation over the last few years, and we've seen rapid acceleration towards this notion of being able to use and leverage, more high-powered models and imbue those into more complicated business processes that couldn't be tackled with an existing RPA workflow or traditional, .NET deterministic workflows, right? And so over the last 3-4 years, we've started to introduce more and more of these generative AI capabilities integral into our platform to deliver more and more business value. Now we've introduced things like, our GenAI activities, which exposes essentially LLM function calls to you that you can use in a workflow. And now we're creating amazing new agents, which are effectively software programs that use an LLM to reason and tackle tasks that are indiscriminate as part of a business workflow. And we see the power of these three components: an agent, a robot, and human, as part of the design, as part of the calibration, and ultimately as part of the delivery of business value that is integral in terms of our next step and our next phase in terms of delivering agentic automation. And so this grounds ourselves, and we see a new view of our platform coming together, where at the top we have all three of these kind of core major players that are delivering, building, executing these business workflows, right? But they're all built on our existing platform, right? Which delivers enterprise end-to-end business automation built on a layer of trust, governance, security that we know we can deliver to our enterprise customers and markets. And so as we kind of look ahead, right, we have our 4 core pillars of how we think about agentic automation and agentic testing and how it feeds into this broader notion of process orchestration. First and foremost, we have what we're going to be talking about primarily today, which is our enterprise agents, right? These are trustworthy agents that necessary components that you need to deliver and create an agent that can go and execute a set of tasks as part of a bigger business process, right? And we'll dive into a bit more details as to what that looks like, what are the components of an agent, right? And how do we differ in this market? But the amazing thing that we have that is a big benefit to UiPath agents is beyond the fact that, yes, we're exposing models, we have a low-code platform, but beyond that, we have the best-in-class toolkits that these agents can use to execute, right? Not just API calls, but business workflows, right? And ultimately deliver value that is not just sending an LLM call and getting a generation response. So we have these amazing products through, our existing RPA workflows, intelligent document processing, process mining, test manager, all of these things that can then support the next level of not just agentic automation creation, but agentic testing, and ultimately, again, creating enterprise agents that are trustworthy, governed, and can deliver business value. All of this is built on our trusted cloud, right, which has all of our natural security, compliance, and governance standards that our customers trust and use us for. And this is all tied together through now what we're going to introduce as agentic orchestration, ultimately a new business process modeling technology that allows you to look at an end-to-end workflow and map out where humans, robots, and agents are going to interact to execute that workflow. And so we see this agentic orchestration as being our next level of being able to tie together all 3 of these key components to deliver, again, the next level of business outcomes. Previously, we have been working in automation workflows where you design an end-to-end flow that then you can go deploy and ultimately run as an unattended workflow. But ultimately, you have to string together a lot of those, and you have to think about how it all ties together. Agentic orchestration allows you to quickly and easily not just map and model all of these things, but allows you to then more easily orchestrate across all of these systems, right? Deliver agentic AI transformation because agents now are integral to this business process map, but then also allows you to execute and manage at scale. You're allowed to now see not just all of the components within the business process, but how are they operating? How are they running? What is happening? And ultimately give some greater understanding so that business users, developers, and admins can all work together to optimize their processes to meet their business goals. Part of this is obviously delivering, process intelligence, giving insights and valuable KPIs that can be used, not just error resolution, but ultimately, how does it relate each of these tasks to the broader goal of delivering ROI from this business automation, right? And underpinning, again, all of this is trust and governance that our UiPath Cloud delivers to support all of these design time, runtime, and ultimately delivering business processes that are exposed into enterprise production environments. And so we see our enterprise agents being a crucial part of being able to deliver not just this agentic orchestration story, but doing so in a manner that is trusted, governed, right, highly reliable, but then ultimately is scalable to multiple different business units, multiple different business use cases, right? And the way that we're going to not just like deliver enhanced value on top of what the market has released is we're going to introduce how our enterprise agents in a manner that bends the curve from the rest of the market. What we mean by that is we're introducing a number of net new features, right, that empower our agents to be supercharged, to be, extremely precise in the way that they're able to infer, execute, and ultimately deliver, right, an end-to-end the task that they're scoped to do in a reliable manner. Part of that is we have, a natural language prompt area in which you're able to deliver and write out all the instructions for your agent, what it's supposed to do, the task it's supposed to tackle, the constraints it's supposed to do. But prompt engineering takes a long time. And so we're introducing a number of net new features that enhance the prompt engineering problems that exist today, namely a prompt auto-tuning section where it will infer elements of your prompt and provide suggestions to help improve that, scope it down, and ultimately follow prompt engineering best practices. We offer a number of models, right, that are best suited for different indiscriminate tasks for your agents. Some models, for example, traditional LLMs are better at traditional linguistic tasks like summarization, classification, things like that agents are actually very good at doing because they're very narrowly scoped tasks. But in addition, we also will be offering a number of our reasoning models over time. In addition, things like O1 that will help to empower not just existing linguistic tasks that an agent can do, but now more reasoning and research tasks that we anticipate agents being able to go and tackle and go find lots of different information, synthesize it down into reports, and ultimately deliver value from that. Additionally, we're beyond the auto tuning. We're offering a number of net new experiences in terms of experimentation, templatizing prompts, right? Ultimately allowing you to better version and improve and iterate on your prompt as you're developing your agent. Currently, we support offline evaluations to look at how your agent output is based on a set of input criteria that you are imagining the agent to interact with as part of this business process. But we anticipate this extending not just to look at the output of the agent, but the trajectory of the agent. And then as the agent is running, being able to continuously and perpetually not just monitor the run, but evaluate the agent. Right? Is it performing along the guidelines, along the standards, along the trajectory that we anticipate? And are there degradations along the way that we could highlight and then go look to calibrate and improve over time? Additionally, of course, beyond just being able to deliver API calls through these tools, right, function calls that the LLMs can make, we also offer our high quality context grounding service, right, that is delivered to retrieve relevant information to support business grounded information as part of this execution, whether it be finding information from a various knowledge bases, right, or over time supporting an in-memory style of context grounding to support effectively a RAG pattern for our agents to help them make better and find more precise information. And then finally, of course, over time, we're going to be introducing more and more capabilities into our agentic and test suite kit products to support testing agents, right? Understanding how they're performing, right? Introducing breakpoints so that you can debug different elements of your agent, right? And ultimately using that to support, right? Improving, calibrating, and ultimately delivering a higher level of reliability in the rest of the market. And so we see our agents being differentiated in a number of ways. First and foremost, of course, we offer agents to be created both in low code as our natural platform provides today, but then as well, we're going to offer the ability to create agents directly from natural language prompting. Imagine being able to describe an agent in normal text and have that produced for you, ready to go and calibrate further. We offer, of course, the best-in-class toolkits to our agents, not only RPA workflows, but now soon API workflows and agents, even as tools so that you can orchestrate even minute tasks with a multiple set of agents and a team of agents collaborating together. Underpinning all of this is escalations to make sure that humans are reviewing, approving, ultimately seeing, what are agents doing? Are they performing according to runtime? Right, and then ultimately, right, ensuring that they're a key part as part of the agent run. Design time and runtime evaluations allow you to calibrate and monitor your agent, right, based on a objective scoring criteria that you can provide. And then ultimately, again, we provide a number of tools that we're going to show off in just a second, right, to help make your prompts well structured. They're going to be more actionable. They're going to be better scoped to an agent. So you don't have super large monolithic prompts that the LLM has to continuously infer from, right, and making the agents perhaps slower, or the improvements degrade as more tools are added to the agent, right? And then finally, the agent health score here that I'll show off in a second, right, is to help provide a report card for your agent to refine it using best practices, right? At any point in time, this health score can then be used both in currently in design time, but then in the future as well, runtime, to monitor all of the elements of your agent and ensure that it's following best practices for agent design. We have access, of course, to the best toolkits. That includes IDP and soon to be IXP. We'll offer UI, first-class tool creation and opportunities for both UI-based automations, API workflows, agents, existing robot automations, and then soon as well, third-party agents will be able to use as tools for agents or with UiPath agents as part of a broader process. We believe that we are the Switzerland of the agent market. We want to be able to support agentic orchestration and automation in the market, right, and lift that up for our enterprise customers. If you're building in a non-UiPath platform for agents, we will support being able to use those as runnables within our market, being able to use evaluators that are external to UiPath, and then of course make sure that that is consistent and tied into the broader process that you're ultimately aiming to deliver. Finally, of course, we offer flexibility in terms of model choice through our AI trust layer, right? All of these things are governed, secure, both in REST and encryption, or excuse me, in transit. But in addition to that, we're also going to be offering, the flexibility to bring your own model. This will be a swap for swap, URL endpoint for a subscription of your model, and we're going to introduce more and more capabilities of that over time, so that we allow for customers who have very, fine-tuned models that they want to use with their agents, or very secure environments in which they want the model and any sort of input-output to be maintained, to then support that with your own model. Cool. So what I'm going to show off is, because I gave a kind of high-level overview of what is an agent, where are we going, how does this kind of all tie in? I want to show off how an agent can then be used to supercharge an existing loan origination process. In here, of course, you'll see this very complicated nested, dialogue tree, or excuse me, design tree of the process where, as banks, as financial services institutions, right, are looking at loans, it's a very complicated process. Beyond the fact that you have to, extract, classify, understand, and even just interpret the elements of the documents, you have to go through a number of different checks, approvals, right, risk calculations, right, eligibility analysis, right, that involves not just humans, but robots. And more importantly, it's very time consuming and it's error prone. So in each of these kind of core steps, we see opportunities where actually an agent can be used to supercharge this existing process, right? Reduce some of the time burden, reduce some of the errors that might come in there, right? Allow an agent to then tackle these very traditionally non-deterministic tasks that have a high level of volatility in terms of the input that might be received based on the different loans that are part of this process, right? And different kind of constituent elements that might have variability that an agent is actually very well suited to tackle. And so we'll show off in a second, right, just this notion of being able to look at this existing process, look at these existing opportunities for improvement, and introduce an agent, right, to help improve that. So what we see now today here is this business process kind of mapped out in a PowerPoint. What I'm going to show is actually the next level of, just get up here, is the next level of UiPath, namely our agentic orchestration platform, right? So while we have this cool, view in our PowerPoint using agentic orchestration, we're now able to map out all of the constituent components of the process here that we just showed in that PowerPoint, right? Namely, how the loan is going to start from various portal, different applications are going to be read, right? You have different breakpoints and validation points, both in terms of where a robot may be needed to do things like read and extract certain text from the application documents, right? Validate, different things about the application completeness, right? Update various systems, right? That you might want a robot, which is very deterministic, has specific guardrails to do, right? And ultimately use tools like our IDP, IXP things to then go and classify and extract specific elements of those loans that then can be used by an agent to determine eligibility of the applicant that pushed that in. Part of the agent then will then operate as part of the, and work with humans to then go review and make sure that the eligibility is valid, so that the truth of the agent that's supported by this loan isn't just taken for granted, right? There is a human in the loop as both part of the agent design that I'll show you, as well as the outer loop here to ensure that the output of the agent is reliable and up to standards by which the process needs in order to operate effectively and ultimately deliver this end-to-end business value, right? And so part of this here that we're showing off is the mix and utilization of all three of those kind of core components that I mentioned at the top of the call, namely robots, agents, and humans, all working together to solve a single problem as part of this very complex workflow that can be broken down into indiscriminate tasks, modeled here in agentic orchestration, and then use as a kickoff point to go and define UiPath enterprise agents using Agent Builder. And so here, I'm showing off our UiPath Agent Builder, where we are providing our users all the necessary components where they can go and model their agent to tackle this very specific task within this business process. In this case, we're going to create an agent that's going to look at extracted output from an IDP JSON of extracted elements from the loan, process those, and then ultimately, based on a risk criteria and the extracted information, right, determine if this person is a valid applicant for the loan to go forward or not. Then the agent will then send the output back to a human to review. But in this design here, we're providing all the necessary components that you need to design that very specific part of the agent, right? We provide you with flexibility for the models that you want to use. You can go and define, obviously, the model settings that you need in terms of temperature, creativity, precision, top P, all of these things that we're going to start to introduce over time, right? But the core components to building an effective agent are these here on the left. And what we're showing is our design canvas, where we give you all of these low code, simple ways to go and define all the aspects of your agent, right, in a very constituent and easy way. So we give you obviously the ability to describe what is your agent, what is the name of it, so you can quickly identify it both in the AO set of tasks, but also if you were to go and then push this into an unattended automation that you might want to run simultaneously. Here you can define the prompt that your agent is going to use, the role, goal, and constraints, ultimately instructions of what is the agent going to do and how should it be operating. You enumerate, of course, all the steps here. So in this case, we're creating an agent, right, that's going to look at the customer profile, right, analyze if there's a target property here, based on the loan that the loan application, right? And then, based on this, it will recommend and determine whether or not this person is eligible for the loan. We provide a number of detailed instructions for the agent here, right, based on prompt engineering best practices. And then once you have a well-structured prompt, of course, then you can refer to various tools that the agent can use as part of its runtime. In this circumstance, we're using 3 existing published workflows that we have at our disposal. But the nice thing about this experience, right, is we're offering users the ability, as I mentioned before, not just access to indiscriminate API calls, in this case, IS activities that will be replaced and supercharged with API workflows, but existing published processes, as well as agents. And in this circumstance, what you can see here is agents are being able to be used for very small scope tasks that can leverage our existing process tools, agent tools, right, to create not just agent to robot orchestration, but agent to agent collaboration and multi-agent orchestration. So in this circumstance, in this agent, right, we've given this agent a few tools, few process tools, right? Namely, to use a robot to go get the credit history of this person, right? Get the employment history and get the property details associated with the loan that they're trying to apply for as part of this process, right? So all 3 of these tools are used by the agent during its run, right? In addition to the context that it can be used. In this circumstance, we're applying context grounding index that we previously created, right, to leverage and refer to an existing set of documents, right, that are used to help support ultimately the process for loan application in the portal. So this will help support retrieving relevant information to support this run execution for the agent, right? And if there's any uncertainty as part of that run, what we can do is introduce a human escalation, namely bringing a human in the loop to review the agent output, ensure it's in line with compliance standards or the intention of the agent, right? And then as necessary, both you can escalate to the human, creating an action center task that can be resolved and ultimately allow the agent to either continue to run or stop. And then the really cool thing is then with these escalations, we're able to add them to agent memory. What that means is in addition to this long form of being able to retrieve relevant information from knowledge bases that you as a developer have access to, the agent then can create active memory, effectively a mechanism by which the agent is able to learn, but based on its interactions during design time as well as runtime. And these cached set of interactions then are used by the agent to then over time diminish the need for bringing a human in to escalate as part of its run. Namely, over time, calibrating the agent, making it better, reducing the burden on humans to have to be involved as part of the process, right? Especially as for this agent that's running. And so in this design canvas, we give you all these necessary tools. You'll build, try out your agent. In this circumstance, I've shown a quick sample of this agent being run here, where we give various risk calculations based on what we've been able to extract from the previous part of the process, right? As well as this very complicated long JSON of extracted fields from the documents that were passed in from this loan application, right? And in each of these steps here, we see all of the aspects of what the agent was doing, right? When it brought a human in the loop, which tools were used, when it referred to context grounding, and ultimately, right, the risk score and the reasoning for the application approval or denial and suggestion that the agent is making that will then be passed to a human to go further validate, review, and ultimately approve or deny, right? And this allows for you to quickly and easily test and benchmark your agent, calibrate it, make some slight tweaks, right? But it gives you just a litmus test of this. This is where evaluations come into play. And so we have this really cool experience here. I'll actually flip into this experience where we have the ability to deliver these really cool evaluations, which allow you as a developer to objectively measure your agent's output based on a simple set of criteria, right? And we are very unique in the market in this case, in which we're able to deliver a high quality set of evaluations, an objective scoring measure of your agent in a low code manner. The rest of the market, the way that they tackle evaluations today is through Python. LangChain offers this. Yes, Agentforce is introduced as an agent testing studio, but we believe we're very unique in the way that we're able to deliver a very simple but powerful way to evaluate your agent using very simple assertion types and allow you to continue to develop your agent, get quick benchmark results, ultimately then seeing all the details of what happened with your agent, how long it took, the associated costs, right? So supporting all of these kind of concepts, as part of the debug and evaluation, and ultimately the design time lifecycle of your agent to improve it, calibrate it over time. We also offer, of course, a detailed set of trace information, right, that can be used as logs, support review, and ultimately doing things like continuing to improve and expand on your existing evaluation set to support ongoing testing, evaluation, and improving your agent, right? The nice thing here, and what I described at the earlier part, is as you're building your agent, you have also now this really cool tool called our agent health score, right? This is a ever existing part of the agent definition that will perpetually look at all of the constituent elements of your agent, right? Namely the prompt, which tools that you have, right? What are your input output arguments and schema? Have you defined that well? And it weights it based on a proportion of different elements that we believe are crucial to create an effective agent, right? Using our various number of best practices here. So we'll show here, of course, you can see this health score, right? It's using a weighted criteria of 4 core heuristics, namely the evaluations that you create and their results, the prompt and the structure of your prompt, the tools that you use, and whether or not they're appropriate to be a part of this agent, the input schema that you've defined, right? And through all of this, we provide you with, areas where you can look to either be on track or perhaps improve. And we provide this ability to automatically look at and help improve this using our optimized service. This optimized service will take heuristics of the health score, ultimately provide a set of recommendations that you can act on, allow you to see the difference between the before and after, improved. In this case, we're showing an improved prompt, right, with more improved structure, gives a quick and more concise view of various examples, right, and you can apply them directly to your agent, right, and continue to make improvements along the way. Here we see additional changes that we can make to our input schema. We can also look at, maybe look at adding different tools that might support this, right? And ultimately, too, the really cool thing about this is we can provide human feedback to these suggestions, right? If we see that there are opportunities where, this isn't exactly what I was looking for, or perhaps there's opportunities for further calibration based on a very specific set of needs that I have for this agent, where we can comment, and then the agent's health score will take that into account and continue to calibrate and provide suggestions based on the comments. So this health score, again, right, is namely a really differentiated tool besides our evaluations experience that we can use to help optimize and improve the agent, right, delivering a faster time to value for effective enterprise agents, right, that are ultimately, again, used as part of these bigger business processes and delivering a very indiscriminate but difficult set of task completions, right, as part of this agent definition. So we're very excited, obviously, to see the evolution of this space. This is our, we're in our private preview right now for our agents. We're very, we have a controlled GA early next week, and we're going to have a very larger GA at the end of April 30th, in which the rest of our community developers, as well as the enterprise organizations, will get access to Agent Builder. Until that time, we're doing a bit of a gated access. So please continue to add your requests to the waitlist. And we'll continue to onboard folks as we see. We encourage, obviously, feedback. We'd love for folks who are already playing with this and testing with it to help work with us. We pride ourselves on the idea that, through the fact that we've been able to deliver this great new experience in under 4 months or so, that has been part and parcel due to the fact that we've been able to collaborate not just with our developer community, but with our customers and partners to co-design and build this experience. This was not UiPath doing it alone. This is us empowering our existing customers, empowering our existing partners, co-design an amazing new experience, right, that fits into our existing platform and allows you to build upon the existing tools that we have at our disposal. So with that, I think I've gotten through most of the aspects of the demo. I'm happy to now, I guess, take some time to answer Q&A. I know there's been a lot of activity in there. So I guess I'll hand it back to, how should we tackle the Q&A portion?
Should we have the poll first, Zach? Because
yes,
I think
that
we
sounds
skipped
great.
the poll. So I think this is
Okay.
maybe a good time for us to start the poll, since we have a few questions for the audience. Also, this will help us get a much better view of the point where you are now and what information and content we should put forward. And then I think we can step into open the Q&A with Zach having a bit more of information about the audience. So I will open now a poll, and I will leave it open for about 10 minutes so you guys can have a chance to answer the questions. So I hope everyone is able to see it live on your screens now. And it will still be there, so take your time to answer. You needn't answer all the questions, but hopefully for those where you think you have a worthy answer for us, it will be really useful if you can take the time and write a few words. And I think, meanwhile, if you want, Zach, we can take some questions from the chat, or we can open live Q&A. I think there were specifically a lot of questions having to do with those who joined the waitlist but didn't get access. So maybe.
Yeah. Yes, very fair. And I appreciate everybody's patience. We've been very deliberate in gating access, at least for this first set of releases for Agent Builder, namely, so again, we can kind of slow roll, make sure that we're delivering a high quality experience. We will be granted, as I mentioned, right, to the broader community, as well as the broader list of folks who have signed up as part of our wait list at the end of April. Our sales teams, though, are kind of looking at the existing wait list and continuing to onboard and prioritize in different waves existing customers and partners who have signed up. So appreciate your guys' patience. We're going to continue to grant access to folks. It will be a slow roll until end of April when we open it up to the broader community.
Okay, I just put again the link for the waitlist in the chat. So whoever did not join the waitlist yet, but it's high time to join it today, maybe. And I think there were also some questions regarding the licensing, though I know that's also a thing still being discussed and constructed. But if you want to tackle a bit of where that's going.
Yeah, certainly. So we're going to try to make it simple. Like we're going to try to do it as long as you have like an automation developer license, you'll be able to use the agents. Ultimately, the deployment of these agents will still reside with an admin persona, but a developer will be able to go and build, publish these agents as part of agentic automations and workflows and iterate on them as we see forward. Pricing is also still being one that's being discussed as well. We're going to use a consumption-based model for what are called agentic units. The agent run, both in design time, eval time, runtime, look at the number of LLM calls that are being made and use this unit based on the consumption of LLM calls, based on that, plus a combination of existing units like robots that might be used as tools to basically charge based on agent run. So it's a combination of LLM calls, existing licenses that might be out there per run. A lot of awesome activity here too. Thank you guys all for these amazing questions, and shout out Tom for helping me answer all of these awesome questions. Cool.
Maybe we can also ask the audience to raise hand. Whoever wants to start asking questions live, please raise your hand so we can open the live Q&A now. So who would like to be the first to ask the question? You know, there were a lot of questions in the chat, so I'm sure there are a lot of questions.
Yeah, I can maybe just speak up to some of them.
Okay.
There's some really good questions I'd love to address. So Brayon, great question. Asking about like when we can connect agents from other platforms. We're actually doing a couple of POCs on that right now to support a couple of external agents being used as runnables within our existing platform. We'll have some updates actually for our April 30th release, so stay tuned on that. But as I mentioned before, we see ourselves as Switzerland of the agent market, right? We want to support being able to build in other environments and use those within our existing automation platform, deliver this business value, right? So thank you, Tom, for answering and suggesting the same. But we are also, again, just to be clear, right, we're not just necessarily sequestering ourselves to existing other low-code platforms like Agentforce, for example, but we have great partnerships that we're starting to curate also with folks like, folks at LangChain. So stay tuned. We've got a lot more exciting news coming in that regard. Agent does not support on-prem. That will be later this year. We're going to have an automation suite flavor of agents by 2510. And yeah, Michael, go for it.
Hi, just a quick question. You mentioned other agents. What is your relationship with Microsoft and Copilot agents?
Yeah, so great question. So we have a good relationship with Microsoft Copilot, what they're doing there, especially not just the existing Copilot, but now we're looking at how we can embed further with Copilot Studio. So Autopilot for everyone. With the Copilot suite, we're going to how we can advance that further to support our agents working in tandem with Microsoft Copilot. So that will come out, I think, later this summer. We're working on curating a partnership there to, again, support the same argument that I made before, that we want to work together with existing platforms to support and build up agentic automation in the market.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else for live questions?
let's see. Will there be templates for Agent Builder? Yes, great question. And thank you, Tom. Tom's just, he's not only helping to build the product, he's helping to build these amazing assets for all of our agents. But yes, we're going to be building a number of pre-built agent templates that folks can use. Some of them are already available on Marketplace, and there'll be more and more that we roll out in the future. We're obviously looking at creating simple task-based pre-built templates, as some of our other folks in the market have also looking at how we create namely because we believe that that's where we're going to end up delivering the most value, is if we can have very specialized targeted agents that are well tuned for specific tasks within a broader business workflow as part of vertical orientation. So for example, medical record summarization is one of these that we're looking at and very excited about the premise of. We have a number of customers who are interested in working with us in that regard. Revenue agent assets. And yeah, BRG, you have a question?
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for just walking through all this. This is great content, by the way. The question that I have is, for the ROI portion of it, right? Do you have any sort of tools that's been built up with regular automations versus using agents? How we have to start thinking through that, right? So that's one of the key questions that we are getting from our leadership. Can you share some insights on that?
Yeah, certainly. So that's a great question. I think the way that we kind of look at it is this is where, a combination of our agentic orchestration comes into play in a combination with our insights platform. So in agentic orchestration, what you're able to do is basically model, of course, the end-to-end business process where you might use robots, but then also we're going to introduce components where you're able to simulate adding in not just existing robots, but now agents, right? And then measure the difference in both the time savings or cost savings that ultimately the business process is looking at. So to answer your question very granularly, we will introduce in product a number of things that will allow you to measure the discriminant differences between a robot or in an existing automation and an agent that will be replacing or supercharging the process to see the difference between the two. And then, of course, what we're aiming to do as well is provide transparency in terms of the agent's, spend and allocation, right, as part of the business, as part of the broader license allocation that you have in your cloud, right? So it's clear that, how much is your agent contributing to your overall your cost picture, not just the value that you're delivering. Hopefully that answered your question. Cool.
Okay. Andy, would you like to talk?
Yeah.
Anybody else? I only see Andy unmuted, but I don't know whether he wants to ask a question.
There's a good question about, can we integrate teams? So that's a good question, and thank you, Tom, for the follow-up questions to clarify. We're going to actually offer kind of an interesting trade with some of these existing kind of productivity platforms. So as part of our next couple of releases, we're going to introduce, as I showed, the ability to create escalations, not just going to Action Center, right, but also being able to create actionable channels directly to teams, so that if you have an agent escalation where the agent's not able to interpret things, effectively, you're able to send a notification with an actionable link to a Teams channel, where then an approver will allow the agent to keep running. So that's our first step. We're going to introduce more and more so over time, like greater integration into existing platforms like that to support that. So in addition to Teams, we'll also have actionable escalation channels to and Gmail to start. Okay, great. I think there was a tag for me.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, so will there be a way to more directly leverage an agent as an intelligent chatbot? E.g., does it have the agent speak conversationally with the user via email, etc.? Yeah, so we have today, as Tom mentioned, our first conversational agent, which is called For Everyone. That is effectively a conversational chatbot agent, right, which is able to not only deliver a a Q&A kind of back and forth to you, but also leverage a number of tools like context grounding and like existing automations, right, to then go and execute tasks and deliver business value. So that is our first conversational agent that we actually released last year. We are going to introduce the ability to create custom autopilot for everyone, and in addition to conversational agent as part of our design, likely in the summer, so June, July kind of time frame, where there'll be a slightly different config that you'll need to support that, namely chat history, memory may be different, streaming, all of those kind of things, in addition to the existing kind of unattended agent definition that we have today. So our plan is to not only support these unattended agents, but also conversational agents, right? And extend those into both existing chat platforms, expand with our autopilot program. Of course, how we can extend that into as well to other platforms like Teams that were mentioned earlier. Question from Priya.
Hi, Zach. How are you doing? So my question would be around the security. Like, can we control the permissions of the agent? And can there be like a agent that's like, exposed to the public, if you wish?
So yes, the answer is absolutely. So the fact that, yeah, of course, our cloud is built on, all of the natural compliance standards, encryption and rest and transit. There will be both role-based access control for agents, admin control and oversight into agent operations. And then additionally, we are introducing guardrails through automation ops governance policies to dictate whether an agent can use the generation of, and the permissions associated with write versus read based operations and specific controls on that. And then additionally, there will be another automation ops policy, right, that will govern the use and of that agent, during publish and deploy time. So if your agent health score is below a certain threshold, right, we'll gracefully warn and ensure that, and try to, basically get the user to calibrate further. So to prevent, agents that are not well suited for their tasks or not well defined and exposed to the public in any sort of manner, right? We have these guardrails that are in place to help guide the generation and output. We have these, additional kind of automation ops policies that will help dictate when an agent should be published. And then more importantly, right, within existing automation workflows, we have this notion of controlled agency. So the agent is very narrowly scoped to a specific task, right, that is guarded by both humans and robots on each end of the input-output, right, to ensure that an agent isn't just going and being an automation by itself. We're tackling the whole process end to end, right? Again, it is a discriminate part of that process. So we ensure that part of the build time means that agents are defined within the controlled environment in which their input output, where they're going to run, what tools they're going to are all governed in one place.
Thank you.
You got it. Cool. We will support bring your own model. That is coming actually very soon. FedRAMP will be coming later this year with our automation suite deployment. How much human involvement is required with Agent AI here? That's a great question. So yes, human is integral into the agent design, getting the agent started, right? Building all the constituent elements of the agent, right? Where we're going to introduce more and more tools that allow the persona to basically leverage AI to help supercharge this development experience, right? The prompt linter, the agent health score, evaluation as a judge, right, are all meant to help support and reduce the burden on a human to continuously build, and evaluate, and ultimately get them faster for the time that they have a reliable agent that they can put back into the existing automations. What are the questions? These are all amazing questions, by the way. And yes, we do have an agentic automation framework. That's another great asset that Tom and team have built. We're going to be introducing that very shortly. That will help effectively provide an upgraded version of our existing robotic enterprise framework to provide a standard mechanism by which you're able to define agents within a process, right, and use them effectively. So we're very excited about being able to use that. let's see. So what are the prerequisites in terms of technical knowledge that one needs to be? That is a great question. Yeah. So, and then Khaled, I'll answer you in just 1 second. But the prerequisites, we're trying to make it like we have a low code platform, right? That means that as part of our experience, we're trying to reduce the learning curve. We're trying to make it very simple and easy for you to build an agent, again, with all of the existing tools that we have at our disposal, and now prompt engineering tools that can help you reduce the burden on the prompt engineering. That is honestly the most time-consuming part of building an agent, right? And then additionally, we're going to introduce the evaluations component, allows you to help learn and understand what's happening with your agent. So the TLDR is, yes, you do need to have some knowledge about LLMs. You need to have some knowledge about like in our experience, very simple ways for you to learn more about your agents as you're building them, and more effectively also to learn about what are best practices in terms of developing agents, using the health score, using the optimized feature, and using this evaluations feature. Okay, cool. And then Khaled, yeah, please feel free.
Sorry, I have one question. Are we going to have, let me explain it, like access to the robot itself, the agent itself, as training the agent specific to my custom environment? Let's say I'm an agency. I have working in one field, and I will build multiple processes. Can I have the access to the infrastructure of the agent itself? Let me like fine tuning the agent to my custom business. That will have a potential.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's in our agent builder design canvas. That is exactly the purpose of that you're designing it for your very specific business process. More often than not, what that means is a combination of one, fine-tuning the prompt that you're using for the agent to refer to the robots or tools that the agent might use, and then adding tools that the agent can use to indiscriminately call during its run. So the whole point of Agent Builder is to customize your agent for your specific use case.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I think we're getting closer to the end. So if there are any questions you would like to ask live for Zach, maybe this is the moment.
Yeah, maybe I just have one more question, Zach. PRG here again. So I think just one suggestion: when you're building the licenses, or probably when you started thinking about the licenses, how this is going to be consumed, maybe keep it something light this time, not on the AI units where it is too complex to understand. That's a one kind of humble kind of suggestion or whatsoever that you call, to make it easy from the licensing side, so that like we can understand how this works end to end.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. You're spot on. We're trying to make it transparent, clear, and easy. And again, based on a consumption-based model that is transparent to both before you get access to agent, we're going to introduce a number of calculators. But then as I showed also like in the agent experience as well, we're going to have transparency in terms of the run spend directly in there. So it's very clear to you as a user, as design time, if I keep building this agent, in eval time, how much did this cost me, right? It's very clear, and we dollar equate it so that you can have it right there in your agent designer. Model that we're trying to make build agents, right? And then
any other questions at this point? Let's say one last question from the audience. Val?
Yeah, actually, I tried the training links. Two of the links are not accessible. Is there a way I can request it? How do we get access to that?
Maybe you can say that a bit louder if it's possible.
No, can you hear me now?
Yes.
The training links, the two training links are not accessible. The ones that is mentioned, like for the positioning agentic orchestration and the selling and positioning agentic orchestration.
The academy.
How do I get access to that one?
Okay, I will check them and reshare them in the chat.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Okay, then maybe at this point we can move a bit onwards towards closing the session. And of course, you have the LinkedIn profiles of Zach and Tom in the chat. I think my colleagues shared them, so feel free to connect with them if you can. And do not forget to join the next Dev Dive session. So sign up in order to get access to the next Dev Dive session next month in March. We will also soon publish April, I think. And if you remember, I also shared you the Dev Dives playlist from the UiPath community YouTube. Please do follow UiPath community on YouTube, and you can get access to the entire Dev Dives playlist there. So you can access what is now over 2 years worth of Dev Dives. And yeah, you can see here the next Dev Dive session, and the links are shared by my colleagues in the chat. And thank you very much for your participation and huge engagement today. It was very nice to see, and I will let now Zach and Tom say goodbye to you.
Yes, thank you very much. We're very appreciative of your time, your willingness to come and see our amazing new updates to our platform, and all of these thoughtful questions. And please, as you get access, as you start to explore, obviously, our offerings, we'd love to hear feedback. So feel free to reach out with any questions, thoughts, or ideas. Very excited about it. And thanks, Tom. Feel free to shout out, bud. Appreciate all your help.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Hopefully I was able to answer some of the questions in the chat. If you do have more questions, feel free to reach out on LinkedIn. I suggested too to someone reach out on the forums as well. Obviously, you've got a very active community on there as well. So thanks, everyone. Really looking forward to all of you getting your hands on this new amazing product.
Thank you all. Goodbye.
Bye.